The Black Mist, secret of the Magic City. Once upon a time, there was a city of magic called Sarman. It was hidden deep in the mountains, in a secret valley only known to magicians. In that place, the wind whispered like a storyteller, and the lake spoke to the stars at night. The people of Sarman were no ordinary folk. Each one had a special gift. Some could talk to the wind, others could turn fire into ice, or bend time itself. But one early morning, a black mist rolled over the city. It stole the peace and slowly weakened all magic. Even the most powerful master mages couldn't stop it. Their powers began to fade, and fear spread through Sarman like wildfire. That's when four young friends stepped up. Aira, a young shaman girl who could draw energy from the sky. Daion, a kind-hearted boy with a heart of fire and a body of ice. Aira, a book-loving boy who could teleport using words. Lara, a girl who painted with light in the darkest places. They investigated the source of the mist and discovered that an ancient and forbidden power, the blackest deep magic, had awakened. Its source was a terrifying place known as the Forgotten Pole, where the world's darkest wishes had been sealed behind an iron door, feeding off fear and greed. Even as they slowly lost their magic, the friends set off on a dangerous journey. Along the way, they crossed into other worlds and faced their deepest fears. Eventually, they discovered that true magic wasn't in powers or spells. It lived in the heart, in kindness, courage, and friendship. When they finally reached the Forgotten Pole, they realized that to defeat the mist, they didn't need magic. They needed unity. Hand in hand, they joined their hearts, and a powerful light burst forth, dissolving the mist forever. The black magic was sealed once again, buried by the strength of their bond. Sarman shone bright once more. But now everyone knew, true power lives not in magic, but in a pure heart and a united soul. The crystal flame returned to the Forgotten Pole of the Black Mist. A year had passed since the Black Mist vanished from Sarman. The city was brighter than ever. Magic flowed freely again. Gardens bloomed in the sky. Stars could be plucked like fruit, and laughter echoed in every alley. The four heroes, Aira, Daion, Aira, and Lara, were now legends. Statues were built in their honor, and schools taught about their courage. But peace, as always, was not meant to last forever. One cold midnight, Daion began to have visions, burning visions. He saw a flame, pure and blue, trapped inside a crystal deep beneath the mountains. The flame whispered in a forgotten language. At first, he thought it was a dream, but then it spoke his name. The balance is broken. The seal is cracked. The mist was only the beginning. He woke up shaking, frost on his breath, even though his body was made of ice. The next day, he told the others. Aira's sky energy flickered nervously. Aira researched ancient books day and night. Lara painted what Daion saw, and the image showed something terrifying. The Forgotten Pole was glowing red again, but there was something new. Behind a crack in the seal, a shape was forming, something alive. The four friends prepared for another journey. This time, they wouldn't just face magic gone wrong. They would face a being born from all broken promises, lies, and forgotten dreams. It was called Vairath, the flame without light. It had awakened because the balance between magic and the human heart had been disturbed. As more people in Sarman started using magic for selfish reasons, the pureness that once protected the world had weakened. The friends returned to the Forbidden Mountains, but the path to the Forgotten Pole was no longer the same. Reality twisted. Skies became oceans, time reversed, and illusions tried to tear them apart. Each friend had to face a part of themselves they had once buried. Aira had to confront her fear of being powerless without the sky. Aira had to admit that knowledge could not solve everything. Lara faced her shadow, a darker version of herself, born from jealousy and doubt. Daion stood before the crystal flame, and it called him master. He realized the truth. The crystal flame was a piece of him, sealed long ago because it was too powerful, too dangerous. But now, to stop Vairath, he would have to unleash it. The Heart of Vairath. Part 3 of the Black Mist. Previously, the crystal flame was awakened. Daion, bonded to its ancient power, stepped into the fire. The seal holding Vairath, the flame without light, was shattered. As the mountain trembled and darkness rose, the world of Sarman stood on the edge of chaos once again. The sky above Sarman turned blood red. Time slowed. Stars flickered and fell like dying embers. In the heart of the forgotten pole, Vairath emerged. A towering being of shadow and flickering fire, eyes like empty voids, and a voice that echoed not in the air, but inside the soul. You seal me once with light, but your light has dimmed. Now, I burn through truth itself. Daion stood before him, changed, his icy skin now laced with glowing flame. The crystal flame had not destroyed him, not yet. But he was different, stronger, wilder. The others could feel it. Aira, Eris, and Lara fought their way through collapsing magic fields, illusions, and storms of ash to reach him. But when they arrived, they found not just Daion, they found doubt. He looked at them with strange, glowing eyes and whispered, "What if we let Vairath win? What if the world needs to burn to be pure again?" The flame was getting to him, but Lara stepped forward. She didn't speak. Instead, she pulled out her paintbrush and painted a memory, a glowing scene of the four of them as kids, laughing beside the sky lake of Sarman. A moment untouched by power or pain. Daion dropped to his knees. He remembered. Then Vairath struck. A storm of black fire erupted from the being's chest, engulfing them all. Time unraveled. Each of the four was thrown into their own personal nightmare. Aira saw a sky without stars, her power gone, the world silent. Eris found himself in a library of screams, every book filled with lies. Lara painted endlessly, but every image melted into darkness. Daion stood in a burning world, alone, the last soul alive. But something happened. Each of them, in the heart of their fear, heard a fifth voice. Not Vairath, not each other. It was a child's voice. Soft, pure, curious. Why do you fight fear with fear? Why not with love? Aira opened her hand. A single star fell into her palm. Eris closed a book, and it turned into a door. Lara painted a beam of light, and it became a path. Daion whispered, "I forgive you," and the fire around him faded. They broke free. Together, they faced Vairath, not with magic this time, but with memory, forgiveness, truth, and unity. They formed a circle. Their energies, once separate, now blended into one glowing force, the living light. And they stepped into Vairath, not to destroy him, but to understand him. Inside, they found the truth. Vairath was born from humanity's forgotten hopes and broken promises. He was not evil. He was pain left to rot. He wept, silently, as their light touched him. Then, for the first time in centuries, he spoke without anger. "I only wanted to be remembered." And then he faded like mist in morning sun. Epilogue. The forgotten pole became a place of peace, not sealed, but watched over. Daion's flame became a healing fire. Aira taught the stars to sing again. Eris wrote a new history, one filled with feeling, not just facts. Lara painted a mural across the skies, so no one would forget. And in the heart of Sarman, a statue of 5 figures now stands. For heroes, and the shadow they saved. The fifth element. Echoes of the first spell. Part 4 of the Black Mist. Peace had returned to Sarman. But peace, like magic, is never still. It breathes, evolves, and sometimes it whispers. 1 year after Vairath's redemption, the city was blooming. Magic and humanity lived in balance. The once feared crystal flame now lit the skies at night, a symbol of healing, not destruction. But far beyond the mountains, past even the edge of maps, a crack appeared. Not in the earth, but in reality. Aira felt it first. One night, while walking under the stars, she heard a sound that had no sound. A hum that shook the bones. The sky shivered, and in the heavens, one star, the very first star, went dark. Meanwhile, Aira discovered a hidden page in one of the oldest magical books. A page that had never existed before. On it were 5 words written in an ancient tongue. The first spell is waking. Lara, who now painted the skies of Sarman, began seeing a strange symbol in her dreams, a circle with 5 points. She painted it unconsciously over and over. Birds avoided the image. Plants near the paintings began to wilt. And Daion was hearing a voice again. Not Vairath, not the crystal flame. Something older. There was a 5th. Before the flame, the sky, the word, and the light. There was the one who remembered. The friends met in the Temple of Balance, built on the very place where they had defeated Vairath. There, a mysterious stranger waited for them. Cloaked in silver mist, they introduced themselves as Lyra, keeper of the forgotten threads. She revealed a terrifying truth. You saved the world from darkness, but now you must save the source of magic itself. Long ago, before the world had shape or voice, there was the first spell, a living, breathing force that gave birth to all magic. It was neither good nor evil. It simply was. It split itself into the 4 core elements: flame, Daion, sky, Aira, word, Eris, and light, Lara. But there was a 5th piece hidden away, the memory. The first spell had cast this piece out, fearing it could undo everything, for it held the power to remember how things were before magic and to erase magic entirely. Now, that piece was returning, and it was angry. It has taken form, Lyra whispered. It calls itself Aira, the end of magic. Avern's goal was not destruction. It was restoration, to return the world to its original, magicless state where no one had powers and no one played gods. But in doing so, it would erase everyone's memories, everyone's magic, even the bonds between friends. Final scene of Part 4. The ground split beneath the temple. From the crack rose a figure made of shifting glass and shadow. Its eyes were empty, yet full of echoes, voices of a time before time. It looked at Aira, Eris, Lara, and Daion and said, "You're not real. Your magic is a lie. I have come to set you free." Then it whispered a word that made the sky flicker and the stars forget how to shine. Unmake. The temple collapsed, and the memories of their past began to blur. The spell that remembers. Part 5 of the Black Mist. The world trembled. The memories of Sarman's heroes began to fade like morning mist under a rising sun. Faces, places, feelings all slipping away. Aira opened her eyes and found herself alone in a gray void. No sky, no stars, no wind, only silence. "Where am I?" she whispered. Eris, Lara, and Daion woke up separately, each in their own empty space, as if the world had been erased around them. But deep inside, a small flicker burned, a spark of something forgotten. Meanwhile, in the void, Aira, the end of magic, drifted in the center of everything. His voice was calm but cold. "You are fragments of a dream I will soon undo." But inside Aira, something stirred, an ancient echo. A voice soft and trembling. "Remember, remember." Back in their voids, the heroes began to struggle. Without memories, they were lost, but fragments of feelings remained. Aira felt a pull toward the sky, a soft glow beckoning her. Eris heard faint whispers, words half remembered but incomplete. Lara's hands ached to create, to paint light into the darkness. Daion felt warmth inside his chest, a flame buried beneath ice. Suddenly, tiny threads of light appeared, weaving through the void, connecting their isolated spaces. Each thread pulsed with a name, a moment, a feeling. Friendship, hope, courage. Following the threads, they found each other. They met at the center of the void, where nothing existed but a flickering star, the last memory of the first spell. Together, they held hands. The star grew brighter, and their memories began to return. Flashes of laughter, battles, tears, and triumph. But Aira was watching. His power waned as their light grew. Desperate, he reached into the void and tried to pull them apart, to erase their bond. But then Daion stepped forward, his voice steady. You say we are a lie, but even in forgetting, we remember each other. Aira lifted her hand toward the star. Magic is not just power, it's the memory of who we are. Eris whispered the words of the first spell, long lost but now remembered. By fire, wind, word, and light. We bind our hearts, we fight the night. The star exploded with blinding light. Aveyron screamed, and the void shattered. The world rebuilt itself. Sarman returned, brighter, alive with magic and life. But something was new. The fifth element, memory, was no longer hidden or feared. It lived openly in the hearts of the people. Magic was not just a force. It was a story, a connection, a promise. The friends stood together, knowing their journey was far from over. Because magic, like memory, never truly ends.